I want to thank the Stockton Mayor, Mayor Silva, thank you for being here. Vice Mayor Fugazi, thank you. Lathrop Mayor, Sunny Dhaliwal, thank you for being here. I want to thank the NAACP President, Bobby Bivens. This is an interesting election. It's coming down to California. When I was elected president, I was nominated, but did not clearly have the votes I needed to win on the first ballot until the last election day, which then was June 2nd, not June 7th. It was in California and New Jersey. I ask you to do for Hillary what California did for me then. Send her into that convention with the wind at her back, with a united Democratic Party, with the forces of progress united. The stakes here are very high. All you got to do is look at the protesters outside to know what the difference in us and them is.
We're intelligent.
This is a huge election that will shape our future for decades to come. Do we believe that we can grow together and rise together? Or do we really think we can go back to a past America to elevate one social group over another and divide the pie differently? Hillary believes we have to grow this economy and take everybody along for the ride. Do we believe? So there are three reasons you ought to be for, besides the fact that she's a great change maker. One is she's got the best ideas to allow us to grow together, to rise together, with rising incomes, stronger middle class lives, upward mobility, downward inequality. Two is she's the only person you can vote for who's actually ever done anything to break the partisan gridlock in Washington and get things done. Three is, especially since the Republicans have made their choice, she is the only person you can vote for that you know can keep us safe around the world and give us the space to grow. There are a lot of troubles in this world today. And we need someone who is respected, who is knowledgeable, who is able to keep big bad things from happening to us and give us the space we need to grow this economy and lead the world away from all this crazy division that's dividing us. More than 90% of the people who serve with both these candidates have endorsed Hillary. It's not because they're all part of some vast establishment that's conspiring against you. I mean, this establishment's pretty big now and includes the League of Conservation Voters, the Human Rights Campaign, the Planned Parenthood, the Congressional Black Caucus, two big Latino organizations, the United Farm Workers, and lots of other unions, most of the education unions. You know, they did this for one reason, because they want someone who's not only right on the issues, but who's a change maker. We have been, it's awful what has been done to our political system through this gridlock. Yes. And I'm amazed that the president's been able to get as much done as he has. Yeah. And don't forget that you got some things you could do. These new overtime rules will raise incomes for 12.5 million people just this last week. It's going to be a good thing. But these people endorsed her because they know her. And you shouldn't worry about this whooping the Republicans have been trying to put on her for the last 4 years. A lot of the same people thought she was the greatest thing since sliced bread before that. But they have learned from being rewarded for their own misbehavior that they can smear people till the cows come home, and if all the smears are false, it'll still drive your numbers down. But be not afraid. We get a new shot when the general election starts. For the young people here who worry about this, I'll tell you a story. 24 years ago, I won the California primary. And wait. It was the end of a long, hard, contentious campaign. Early in the campaign, I mean early in New Hampshire, The Republicans came after me with all they were worth and told me they were going to. They said, "We think you're different. You're the only one with a chance to win. We're going to take you out early." Because our friends back there, they love all this negative stuff. And you got to have sympathy with them because, heck, they got to put something new on every day. I mean, after all, doing good, improving lives, that's so boring. We're laughing, but you know I'm telling you the truth, right? So there's a story 3 weeks after the California primary in the San Francisco newspaper, where I'm going to spend the night tonight, in the San Francisco newspaper saying there's a hot race on between President Bush and Ross Perot. Clinton's not a factor. And there's a map in the paper saying I had 9 electoral votes. You forgot that, didn't you? It's about 370 short, that map. But why am I telling you this? Just relax. In the end, the American people are fundamentally fair-minded. They only have so much bandwidth to think about politics. Really. When I showed up at the convention, a majority of the American people didn't know that Hillary and I had a child and thought that we were both born with silver spoons in our mouth. They didn't, not in Hope, Arkansas, yeah. When in fact, I earnestly hope at least that I will be the last person elected president who ever lived on a little farm without indoor plumbing. The point is, you can't take all this stuff too seriously. You get to scrape the windshield clean after this. All you need to think about is the people that know her trust her and they believe in her. There's a reason all these members of Congress and all of these groups and the friends of her childhood and everybody in between. There's a reason in Arkansas where she has not lived in 18 years. She made only one stop and got 2/3 of the vote. Because they trust her, they remember, they know. There's a reason that 93% of the African Americans in Alabama voted for her. They remember that those schools got shut down, and they know that. All will be well if California will show up, shout out, and send her to that convention with the wind at her back. God bless you.